This is my reflection on the 12 worldviews expressed in Chapter 1, Conscious Human Action, of Rudolf Steiner's philosophy of freedom. The materialist enjoys the freedom of indifferent choice. The choices are made at the level of will. This willful choice is the immediate movement of the body without concern for thought or desire. In this case, the agent doesn't need to be troubled with sorting out difficult decisions. He moves through a busy day from one action to another. The materialist is aware of his activity, but is not mindful of the reasons that do exist and are determining his action. The freedom valued by Spiritism is freedom of choice. The agent turns inward to make a choice according to their own inner activity. The preferred choice is felt as a desire. But we are not free in our feelings. The realist is interested in being their real, genuine nature. It is not a choice, but a necessity to be ourselves. This is freedom of the necessity of our nature. We must be allowed to be authentic and express who we are. This freedom is opposed by saying that who we are is a product of our external environment. We are socially conditioned to exist and to act in a fixed and exact way. The idealist finds freedom in the world of ideas by accepting or rejecting ideas for action on the basis of character. The idealist is looking for meaning and making progress by developing character. This freedom is opposed by the necessity of being determined by our established characterological disposition. This freedom is opposed by the necessity of being determined by our established characterological disposition. The mathematist is looking for a principle of freedom. His principle is that there is a difference between a conscious and an unconscious motive of action, so the conscious motive must be judged differently. The mathematist may have full knowledge of principles, but may not apply them to life in action. The rationalist says they're free when a rational decision, rather than animal cravings, control their action. The rationalist sets goals with deliberate decisions. When rational thought is driven by a rational necessity, that removes freedom. Then thinking occurs without the participation of the thinker. The psychist is interested in the psyche and understands that when reason and desire come together, they form very strong motives. These motives drive us with a necessity, so freedom is not located in what to do, it's the ability to do what we want. But how can we be free if we are forced to obey the strongest motive? The pneumatist is interested in the individual spirit, so considers freedom to be unconditioned, spontaneous will. We act according to invisible spiritual impulses. But if we do not know why we act, it is not freedom. The monadist is able to form concepts and express them in action. Freedom is having full knowledge of the motive. But what does having knowledge even mean? The dynamic personality of the dynamist acts out of love, compassion, and patriotism. The heart prevails over the cold intellect. This is what it means to be a free human. But the heart is not the source of the motives that determine action. Motives are determined by thought. What the phenomenalist observes is that a free deed appears as an action carried out in love. The process can be described as the more idealistic the thoughts, the more blissful the love. This means love is not free, it is determined by thought. The sensationalist sees the qualities of a person. Seeing the good qualities of a person awakens love. But what we see in the world is the result of the perception picture we form. Here again, we are dealing with thought. To answer the question of freedom, we need to examine the origin of thought.